The Ninjago 2025 Summer Wave sets have officially been revealed, and I have to say, there are a lot of people who aren't really happy with this wave. And it's a bit of a shame to see because the last few years have killed it in terms of Ninjago sets. I think every single wave has quite universally been loved, so to see this one get a little more controversial, I think is fairly interesting. So in this video, I wanted to go over each of the Summer 2025 sets, and I wanted to know what your opinion is on them, and I will let you know what mine is as well, because I want to know which ones the community is actually going to be buying, and which ones we may not see going off the shelves too quickly. But yeah, it's a nice simple video, sit back, relax, enjoy, and let's talk about some Lego bricks. I'm going to start off with the more negative side of it, I guess, just so we can end off on a more positive note. I'm going to start with the sets that I have no interest in getting whatsoever, and the first one for me is definitely Aaron's Spinjitzu Battle Mech set. It's a relatively small one at 213 pieces, and it's actually meant to coincide with the mechs that we got in the Elemental Mech sets that we got last year, and honestly, I think it's very weird to see that this is now coming out. And I'm going to be honest, I'm just not really a fan of this set. The colours are fine, I guess, but the main detractor for me is the fact that it's coming out at a very weird point. I honestly think, for the most part, especially considering it's not canon, it just doesn't really belong in this wave, and I just think it's a way to fill it out. I also just don't really care for the minifigures. Of course, a Spectral Dragonian Warrior is always nice. Of course, we've got just the same suit that Aaron has, but it's got a half mask instead, which is a bit nah. I mean, it's another way to get his hairpiece, I guess, but you don't really need this set for that. And a baby Ryu specifically, which makes no sense to me. Why is there a baby Ryu when he is officially an adult as far as I can tell? It's just a really weird set, and it's just one that I don't really have much of an interest in, all things considered. But I want to know, is anyone actually going to be getting this set? Because I just don't really think it's got a lot going for it, to be honest. It's also just weaker compared to the other Elemental mechs. I mean, I really think the Kai one and the Cole one in particular are amazing. The Lloyd one I can give or take. The Sora one I think is fine, but honestly, this one just feels a bit weak in comparison. The second one I just don't really care for, and it feels a bit harsh to put it in here, is going to be the Rogue vs Drix race car duel, because it's a 4+ set. I'm not the intended targeted audience, but that doesn't mean I can't look at a 4+ and go, well, there's a value to it. I mean, in the last wave alone, there was one that came with most of the ninja, so for that reason, that one was actually not too bad. But this one honestly just has no appeal to me. It comes with a Drix, which is not difficult to get, it comes with a Nier without her armor, and it comes with Rogue with a different battle mask. And I guess if you want the dark blue battle mask, you can get it for that reason, but this set just doesn't really have any value for me, to be honest, and for that reason, again, I'm not going to be picking it up. But those are the only two sets I would consider bad, I guess. I mean, they're just ones I just don't really care for over anything. Next up, though, is going to be the more mediocre sets, in my opinion. These are another two that I just think are a bit nah, but those are the only sets I actually have a problem with, so let's get into them. The first one is the Kai Motorcycle Speed Chase set. It has 79 pieces and it comes with 2 minifigures, and I will say, I'm putting it in like a mediocre Nair set because, in my opinion, it's fantastic if you just want a cheap way to get Kai and a Dragonian Warrior. But the thing is that if you're getting near enough any of the other sets, you're gonna get those minifigures anyways. So it's an interesting one where you have to consider, do I want the minifigures? If so, it's the perfect set for you. If not, it just doesn't really have any sort of value, I guess, for that reason. But like I said, I want to make it clear, if you need a Kai and a extra Dragonian Warrior, if you want to do it like a army builder, this set is probably perfect because it's a fully stocked Kai and a fully armored Dragonian Warrior as well. So for that reason, it is good. But I just can't really see it good for any other reason if you're going to get any of the other sets. Although the other okay one for me, in my opinion, is the Ninja Combat Vehicle set. It has 561 pieces, and I'm going to be honest, it kind of just comes down to the fact I don't really care for the build. I mean, I can see the appeal of it. I think it has some decent moments, and the splitting gimmick is quite cool. I just think for me, we've seen this concept so many times, I just don't really care for it because of it. I'm probably still going to get it because of the minifigure selection, but honestly, and compared to the other sets, it's just not really good for it. I do think the only redeemable part is the actual minifigures, that's the thing. Of course, having the Frack, a Cole, a Kai, a Wildfire, even though it's just her usual minifigure, and it has a Noct and a Dragonian Warrior, so it's good if you don't have any of these minifigures so far. It's a good way to get all of them in one, and of course, Frack is exclusive, but the thing is that apart from that, I just don't really care for it. But that might be where my opinion differs, but like I said, this is just my opinion. Let me know if you disagree. But yeah, I think for what it is solid. I might end up getting it maybe on sale, but I don't really find myself in any sort of rush to get it regardless. Although luckily it's time to be more positive, and let's talk about some of the good sets in this season. These are ones that I'll probably pick up if they're in front of me, or if I see them, like I said, for like a good deal, but they're actually ones that I do want to get at some point. The main one, or the first one more specifically, is going to be the Rontu set. Fun fact, I actually don't have Egolt, but this actually is making me want to get the Egolt set so I can have the two of them together. She's a really nice build, it's a decent amount of pieces, she seems like a quite compact and nice dragon, I have to say. Like I said, I just think it's a really solid build overall. Also, just coming with a really nice selection of minifigures. Of course, getting the Lloyd, you're gonna get a Sora, you do get another Wildfire, which is meh, but then you also get the Zarkt, which is a nice thing, I guess, if you actually like it. I mean, I like the design. I can't say much about the character in of itself, but it's actually quite decent for what it is, honestly, and like I said, considering the piece count, it's actually going to be a quite cheap way of getting all those different minifigures. So honestly, the minifigures, the build overall, I actually think it makes for a really good set, and I actually really do want to get this one, and it makes me, like I said, want to get Egolt. Another really good one, in my opinion, is definitely the Rogue Mech Dragon Rider set. I really like this concept. I think it's really cool to see a mech and a mechanized dragon next to each other at the exact same time. I think it's a really solid concept, and I think the build does really well for it as well. Also, just a decent range of minifigures. It's another way to get Rogue if you haven't got them already, which is a bit meh, but, you know, of course he's going to come in a set that has him. I think it would have been better if we got his hairpiece, though, I have to say. It also has got the Dark Aaron, which I think is fine. It's a nice way to get him, I guess. But personally speaking, I would have preferred if they have replaced him, maybe with Nia, but that's just kind of my opinion. But of course, the big standout in this one is, of course, Rox. And in my opinion, that kind of sells the set for me in particular, because I can't wait to have all of the Forbidden 5 in hand. But it's just another really good one, and I think it has got a lot of fun aspects to it. I think the dragon and the mech work on their own outside of the fact that they combine together, and the minifigures, like I said, work really well as well. Like I said, I think my main thing is just maybe replacing the Aaron with an actual Nia minifigure instead, but that's just me. Let me know what you think of that. After that did come Lloyd's Jet Mech, and I have to say this is one that is bouncing between good and mediocre for me, because I'm not exactly encouraged to get this set, but I can't help but like the build of it. I think conceptually it's quite cool. Of course, it goes from a jet to an actual mech itself. Of course, it's in the name, and I do think that conceptually speaking is quite cool, especially as a Transformers fan. But the build itself is quite nice. I really like the look of the build. I think the only downside for this set for me personally is the minifigures. Of course, you've got your fully stocked Lloyd, your fully stocked Sora, which they both came together in a different set already, so I do think that's a bit of a weird combination to have in this set. Of course, two Dragonian Warriors, which is always nice to see, and then of course having Kerr. And Kerr, in my opinion, is the main attraction for this set. As far as I'm aware as well, she is exclusive. So for that reason, it is encouraging me to get it, and I don't think I'd be mad when I own it, but I think I'm personally going to wait for a sale. But I do think this is a really cool one regardless. Like I said, the color, the build, it looks quite dense, quite solid. I actually am really looking forward to handling this in hand. But like I said, this is definitely one that could go to mediocre for me, because it's just nah overall, especially considering the minifigures. And then the final good one for me is actually the Temple Bounty, of course being the 20 millionth time of us actually getting a bounty set, but I can't help but appreciate the fact that it still looks quite good regardless. The build itself is actually quite cool to see. It's not my favorite bounty, it's nowhere near. My favorite bounty will always be the movie bounty, followed up by legacy bounty. But the thing is that it's still a really cool looking build, and again, looks quite solid. It looks quite fun to handle in hand, and I bet that has a nice weight to it as well. Though again, similar to the Lloyd Jet Mech, the actual downside for me again is in fact the minifigures, because The minifigures are just a bit strange. As far as I can tell, I think Nia in this fully armored variant is exclusive, and Zane is exclusive as well. But apart from that, these are all just reused minifigures outside of that. Of course, having the Wildfire again, that's the third set in the wave that she's in. Having the fully done Rogue, which is nice. Having then the Cole and the Zarks again. This feels a bit weird. I'm going to be honest, I'm surprised we didn't get a Raz in this wave. There's no presence of him whatsoever, so I do think that one's quite weird. But I do think, again, the minifigure selection is quite a letdown for it. But like I said, again, the build looks nice. Personally speaking, do I intend on getting this quite soon? No, I don't know if I am going to be getting it quite right off the bat, but it is one that's definitely intriguing me, especially considering if we see it in this kind of way in the show as well. But like I said, again, similar to the Lloyd Jet Mech, the minifigures, in my opinion, is just completely disappointing because it's a very large set with one Forbidden 5 member. But those are the good sets, and like I said, those are all ones that I think are fairly solid. I think they're ones that I could see myself picking up and getting at some point down the line. But there is one more category to this, and that is the amazing sets, aka the legend sets. Of course, we're getting 2 new sets to coincide with the Monstrosity Ninjago Legends series with Kai, and I have to say, these 2 sets are absolutely stellar. The mech one, I think, is absolutely brilliant. The Fire Knight mech. The build looks solid. It looks dense. It looks heavy. It's got a cape. It's got everything that you want. It's got that really cool bit on the side as well. That monster looking, which I think is really cool. It only comes with 2 minifigures. I will mention that. It comes with an exclusive Kai, which looks really good. I can't wait to have that minifigure in hand, and it comes with just a civilian by the looks of it. I'm guessing this will make more sense in context of the actual short itself, so I can't wait to see how it utilizes. But 2 solid minifigures. I mean, the civilian's nothing worth writing home about, but the Kai is definitely a standout for me. But I do think this set is really good looking. I think it's going to be posable. It looks like almost like a diorama. I think it actually has everything that you would want in a set like this. But in my opinion, it just gets better. Because then they also turned around and gave us the Guardian Dragon. And I have to say, I think this set is near enough perfect. The dragon looks fantastic, being perched up on there like that. It looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to have something like that displayed on mine. It looks like the Oriental, like mountain-esque build could coincide with the other set that we got before with Wu in it. I put an image on screen now, but this set looks fantastic. I think it has so many cool details, so many amazing bits and pieces, and I think it will be a standout in any Ninjago collection. Of course, then also coming with an amazing looking Wu minifigure. I think that minifigure of him looks amazing. I cannot wait to have him in hand. I think the armor, the torso, the legs, everything about it, it even looks like an exclusive head print. I think everything about it is absolutely perfect, and I can't wait to have this new Wu minifigure in hand, because of course we don't get a lot of them nowadays, so this is a perfect time to get another amazing one. But that is all of the summer 2025 sets, and the only other thing I really want to cover and overall is the minifigures that we've gotten. Of course, we've gotten a bunch of Wildfires, which is meh. We've gotten the exact same Aaron and Rogue, which is fine because I do think they are good. We are getting some really cool ninja minifigures. I know a lot of people don't really like those ones, but I do like the new armor with the new hood, well, the new half mask more specifically. I think the torso and the legs are really cool, very reminiscent of Rogue. It'll be interesting to see how much of a part that does play when it comes to the actual story itself. But I do think the ninja do look really good, and of course getting the rest of the Forbidden 5 is always nice, and these Spectral Dragonian Warriors are a really nice sight to see as well. So honestly, I actually like these new minifigures and these new, like most of these new sets, and I hopefully think you guys do as well. But like I said, let me know what you do think of all of these sets. Which ones are you picking up? Which ones are you not picking up? Is there anything in particular that you have in terms of a complaint with these sets? I would love to know, because I would like to understand when it comes to not really liking these sets, because honestly, I do think they're quite solid. Maybe not as good as some of the other waves, I will agree with that, but I do think this one has a lot going for it. I think the only main complaint I have is the amount of Wildfire and the reuse of the same minifigure. The lack of Forbidden 5 or multiple Forbidden 5 members per set. Obviously that's so they sell more sets, but you know, and obviously the lack of Ras. But yeah, overall, I think these are some really cool sets, but of course there are some outliers in there that I'm not really a big fan of. But again, let me know what you think. But that is about it for today, you guys. Thank you for watching. Take care. Okay,